Iran's president urged his government to listen to the, quote, legitimate demands of protesters, state media reported this Tuesday. This after several days of demonstrations by shopkeepers in Tehran over economic hardships. Store owners in the capital are on strike for the third straight day this Tuesday, and students have taken to the streets after Iran's embattled currency hit new lows on the unofficial market. Well, to talk more about this, I'm joined on set now by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, just how bad is the situation for shopkeepers?
Right, well, I've got a couple of charts for you just to put it all into perspective. The first one is about currency in Iran, the rial. It's currently trading at about 1.42 million rials to the dollar. That was on Sunday when the current protest broke out. If you look at the figures before that, in December 2022, it was 430,000 of the dollar and only 32,000 10 years ago in 2015. So the protesters are basically saying that they can't make ends meet, and also that what they're seeing with the fall in the value of the Iranian rial, which basically nobody in Iran refers to anymore, they all talk in dollars, is that they can't buy food, they can't buy medicine, and they can't really buy gasoline and can't make ends meet at the end of the month, so they're very angry. And the shopkeepers themselves say the situation has got so out of hand that they can't sell goods because people are saying, well, we're going to wait and see whether the price comes down. Imported goods are out of the reach of most Iranians when it comes down to even the most basic goods. If you want to buy a cover for your mobile phone, that is too expensive now. So the shopkeepers say they can't afford to sell any goods, or they're not selling any goods. If you look at the inflation rate, that is also extremely high for most Iranians, 42.2% overall, 72% for food, and 50% for medical items. And that is also, in some cases, even more than that when it comes down to specific items that are being sold in Iran. That's according to the Iranian State Statistics Center. So they are also very angry, these shopkeepers, with the Iranian authorities because they say basically they haven't received any support in helping them in trying to sell their goods. And that's why the final resort that they have is coming onto the streets to protest their anger.
So, Philip, why is the economic situation so bad in Iran?
Well, I think everybody can realise that Iran has been under sanctions for years now, and they are biting hard into the economy. And these have also been strained by the United Nations, which introduced international sanctions last September linked to the country's nuclear program. These sanctions were lifted 10 years ago. This is all precipitated as well by the United States pulling out of the Iranian nuclear agreement, and Iran then saying it was going to go back to enriching uranium, which has annoyed many in the international community, particularly the United States, and that led to the reintroduction of these sanctions. On top of that, we've had these bombing raids back in June this year by the United States and by Israel, a new threat coming up within the last 24 hours following that meeting we've just been talking about between Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying that if there's any sign that Iran is going to renew its nuclear program, then there could be fresh bombing raids. I think a lot of unease among shopkeepers and people in Iran about exactly where the economy is going to be going with all of this, and they see that there's not much good news on the horizon. The reaction from the Iranian authorities has been pretty swift. These are the worst sanctions since the protests, or the worst protests since those demonstrations back in 2022 over Mahsa Amini, who was killed after refusing to wear her scarf correctly to cover up her head. That led to widespread protests around the country. So I think the authorities are pretty worried about that. That explains why the president has come out to say that the shopkeepers need to be listened to. I think he knows the world is watching, and they certainly don't want this to spiral out of control.